I want that take.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with the play, I would like to introduce the cast. So I'm going to step aside, and when I mention your name, please stand up and acknowledge yourself to the audience. Lanny D. Butler. Antonio Divas. Giovanni Jacobo. Kirk Charles. Prentice L. Miles. Zaret J. Rogers. And I'm Phillip W. Weiss. And now we shall continue with the play.
Don't get all puffed up now. That smell of success that you got high on has different aromas. Some would stink. Man, I was an internationally famous television star, the epitome of middle-class values, millions of people practically swearing by it. Now look at me. My life's a disaster.
Yet, we are alive, and we are surviving, and in this world, that is no small accomplishment.
But I don't want to just survive. I want to excel, get to the top, have it all. And for a while I was up there. I was champ.
Then you became a chump. You started getting sloppy, lost your focus, got all cocky.
Like you were cocky?
Yeah, but I can back it up, baby. You couldn't. You went from cool to fool. If I remember, you went down fast. Tell you the truth, I got so worried about you, I thought about visiting you.
Well, I was in prison.
No! That wouldn't be cool. I mean afterwards, when you were trying to find yourself.
I could have used a little bit of that buddy care too, buddy.
You? Don't make me laugh. Your arrogance was so much for anyone to bear.
Me? Arrogant? You must be mistaking me for someone else.
No, mistakes. You were so smug. Even at your trial, hiding behind your lawyer like you were some kind of white banker or politician who could buy his way out.
I didn't do anything. I didn't buy my way out of anything. And don't you believe me?
I was too busy enjoying life to follow your case.
I was out on the golf course with my father practicing my golf.
That time, I still had a career to attend to.
I don't know what I was doing at that time, but the last thing I would have wanted to do was to watch you swerving on TV.
I can't believe it. Is this really how you guys little care about me?
It's not that we didn't care, it's that maybe you're right. Maybe we didn't care.
Whatever happened to black solidarity?
That's nothing but a myth created by white politicians to scare white people into voting for them. The fact is, all of us are wrapped up in our own problems.
You could leave me out of that. I enjoyed my life.
Yeah, hoping women that didn't brag about it. How empty is that?
Maybe to you. To me, I call it having fun. I paid my dues, so I have the right to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
To become a laughing stock?
Nobody ever laughed at me. You're just jealous.
Excuse me, Milt, but any of us can get a woman if we want. I mean, why did you have to write a book about it?
For the money.
You said practically every grade did in history basketball, and you still needed money? What happened to all the money you earned?
Women. That's what happened.
Is this obsession with women a problem only for black men?
That's a loaded question. If we say no, then we can be accused of being queer. And if we say yes, then we get accused of being shallow. I think all men are obsessed with women. I like to comfort women. What's wrong with that?
I'm
don't see women as being a problem. Rather, it's the way we relate to them.
I relate to them just fine. You never heard of any women complaining about me, have you? So I must be doing something right.
Being obsessed with women has nothing to do with being black. But you know what, smart guy? Maybe you asked the wrong question. Maybe the women are the problem. Whores, prostitutes, call girls, dancers, escorts, actresses, call them what you want. They flaunt what they have, and we notice it. At least I do. I'm a man. I can't help it.
Are we going to start demonizing women now? Remember, guys, we all have mothers.
You leave my mother out of this. You
Nobody's insulting your mother. We're talking generalities, not specifics. You think I want someone calling my sister a whore or something? Of course not. But some guy, or to some guys, maybe she is. Or at least he thinks she is. It's all relevant.
What does Einstein have to do with this?
Einstein? Who mentioned Einstein?
He's talking about relativity.
Listen, Mr. Golfer, we're not talking about nuclear physics, okay? So keep Einstein out of this.
I loved my mother. She was poor, but she tried her best.
To raise the likes of you, she had to be special.
She was. But my other mother was boxing. She taught me all about life.
Why you being punched in the face?
And dishing it out too.
Why are blacks so preoccupied with violence?
Is there anything that a black man do is right with you? Or we all just a bunch of maladjusted fools?
Hey, I didn't say that.
But you implied it.
Listen, bro, don't put words in my mouth, okay? Whether you like it or not, the vast majority of inmates in prison today are black. That's a fact.
In a racist society, that's a fact too.
Okay, not all blacks are failures. And what about happened to all of that black entertainers and black doctors and lawyers and teachers?
Bunch of phonies, sucking up to the white boss.
Can't you be middle class without being a seller?
Sure you can. I did it.
You're just a tall black freak. Congratulations.
I did it too.
And you were charged with double homicide, spent years in prison, and you're telling me that you're middle class? I don't
Yeah,
think
stop judging me, man. That's not right. Yeah, I'm a black man who became middle class.
Oh, stop your bragging. You're ashamed of what you are. Still a street nigga.
I asked that we not use that word.
It's part of the language.
I agree with Miller. The word is just too harsh and too offensive.
Yeah, y'all such a bunch of prima donnas. You act like you never heard the word before.
We've all heard it too often. I don't need to hear it again.
All I was trying to say was that bro is refusing to be honest with himself.
Hey, you're wrong, bro. Look, I'll never forget my roots.
In fact, all of you are phonies. Acting like you're so prim and proper, as if you're white.
If by roots you mean where we're from, that's something no one ever forgets.
What's the point of going down memory lane? We all moved on. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. So what?
Our roots are more than geographical. They're cultural too.
Whenever I hear that word culture, I grit my teeth. It's just a loaded word.
It can be, depending on how it's used.
Yeah, I came from a good family.
That produced you.
What do you mean by that remark?
You think you're someone a parent will be proud of?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I made something of myself. And I excelled in my chosen profession, and I became a rather popular actor and entertainer.
Yeah, but then you messed it up.
If I did it, isn't because of my roots.
I guess I could say the same about myself. I mean, life, it's been good. I played ball, got married, cruised around a little bit, worked in movies. It's been a good ride.
You know, I couldn't have had a better set of parents. My father was a career army man, and my mother was a very loving woman. I was brought up well. I owe all my success to my father. He believed in me.
So, if we all came from such good families, then why are our lives such disasters?
You know, if you're a high horse already, before I knock you off. What the hell do you know about my life until the day we never met? So how can you talk about me?
There were rumors.
All sewer talk from the press. I've been a good father, a wonderful provider. My kids had to worry nothing.
Mine too.
I've taken good care of my kids.
So, you're current with the alimony papers? Of course. For some reason, I just find that hard to believe.
Don't believe me, what do I care?
All right, then we're all good. Responsible parents, except for Milton, who played smart. We're all decent, law-abiding guys, but we're rebels too. That's what's gotten us into trouble.
Not rebels, entertainers, performers.
That's right. Showmen, but symbols too. Of the gifted black man who could run faster and jump higher than anyone else.
And hit a golf ball further and straighter too.
Yeah, that too, Dagger.
I guess I did. But now, I'm on the sidelines, and I don't know what to do with myself.
See, that's the problem. None of us know what to do with ourselves. I mean, we were jocks. And what's a jock supposed to do when time is up?
I mean, me and you, we both became actors.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same. At least not for me. On the field, I was practically a god. But in the movies, I'm just another actor. And not a very good one, yeah.
I watched a couple of your movies. Like that war movie that was set in World War II. You were good. And that Western, you almost got the girl.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. Right? They almost got upstaged by an actor who couldn't even ride a horse. I mean, he needed a stunt double who, by the way, happened to be a brother.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do say. But it was a paycheck and I needed the money for alimony, so.
So you backed up. Me, I got hauled into court.
Why didn't you just do the right thing and pay?
Hey, those bitches? No way. They were trying to take everything from me.
But you had kids, man.
So what? I still had to survive. These women didn't love me. They didn't care about me. They didn't give a flying leap about me. They put out because I had money and they wanted to cash in. But they were sneaky. They acted like they loved me and I fell for that. I have feelings too.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
You shameless fool. You can't be honest. You're embarrassing only because the judge had publicly ordered you to pay.
And I lost my home in the process. Believe me, I felt more than just embarrassment.
You should have been thinking about your head, not your dick. Fucking woman getting them pregnant. You thought you were gonna get away with that? And not have to deal with the consequences?
Aw, can that talk, man? I'm a man. Stop preaching at me.
You are really a Muslim?
I am.
You should have answered that call earlier.
I answered it when I did, and it helped me. It was a personal thing. At least I didn't make it a big deal about it like you did.
I didn't make it a big deal about it. It was the press that made it into a big deal. And then afterwards, they vilified me and made me out to be a traitor.
Because you refused to be drafted. You were breaking the law.
Wrong! Forcing me to go into the army, the government was violating my freedom of religion.
So you becoming a Muslim had nothing to do with you avoiding the draft?
That's right. It is profoundly spiritual.
Hands off of you. You pulled it off, and you even won your case.
Thanks, bro.
Does being a Muslim provide a peace of mind?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Because it's the only one faith that allows me to be who I really am. Instead of playing a role imposed on me by the white man through Christianity.
My father was an ordained minister, and if he was still alive, he'd be very distressed by what you just said. Christianity is the religion of love, while Islam is the one of hate.
I take offense to that remark. First, I didn't mean any disrespect regarding your father. But you asked me a straight question, I gave you a straight answer. And in turn, you attacked my religion. A subject that you really know nothing about.
Okay, maybe I was a little off base with that remark about Islam. But for me, religion did not figure into my life. There was no way I was going to become a minister. I was too busy playing football. I only mentioned my father because the subject of religion came up.
So, you repudiated the teachings of your father?
What are you talking about, man? Nobody repudiated anybody. And all of us were exposed to religion, so what?
But for me, Christianity was all talk of salvation and whatnot. Offer no answers to the question of how a black man can make his way through life and keep his identity and sanity and survive in a white dominant racist society.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Me neither. But I remember when I was growing up, the minister of my church was one of the leaders in the community.
That's the way it used to be.
It still is. It still is. It was the church that held neighborhoods together. It still does today.
We lost our ways.
Hey, don't get sappy on me now. Save that junk for the movies.
I'm serious, bro. The church gave the black communities cohesion and hope.
No way. The black churches were a sham. They were clones of the white churches, that's all. Look, my parents were church-going people, and look what it did to them.
They were able to raise you. They did a good job.
My parents were hardworking people who never had the opportunity to even further themselves because they were brainwashed into believing that they needed to know their place. I hated it. Just thinking about it now makes me outraged.
So converting to Islam made the memories less painful.
No, it didn't. It gave me an outlet through which I could demonstrate my anger without doing anything really awful.
No wonder you became a boxer.
I never liked boxing, but I was good at it, so I went that direction. I'm not by nature a violent man.
You're not a violent man? Fine. I am. I hit people for a living and I loved it.
That's where we differ.
No, you only think we're different. We're the same.
I ain't never raped no one. I spent some time in prison.
You got your brushes with the law too, so don't come off as being so high and mighty.
I think we've all had brushes with the law.
Typical story for the American black man.
I never got into trouble.
There's always the exception.
Yeah, how did you manage that?
I guess I wasn't a washout as you guys are.
Now who's acting so superior, high and mighty? Maybe you just didn't have the balls to assert yourself.
I did that on the basketball court. That was enough for me.
But there's more to life than playing sports.
There is?
Yes, except for me, I didn't realize that until much later.
Well, for me, playing sports was everything.
And women too.
Yeah, women too.
What a sad it'd be like we live.
And who are you to judge me? Look at you. Scores of women coming out the woodwork complaining about you.
All sensationalist lies.
You mean over 40 women are lying about you. They're all lies.
That's right. They came by. I got them drinks. Then we got to know each other. It's no big deal.
While you were married.
But what about that squeaky clean image that you were selling to the public?
And my fault. Only one who's ever socialized with ladies.
But your image was based on a lie.
That's your opinion. And please do not judge me.
You can't help but judge you.
None of you are in a position to judge me. We've all done our share of party.
So it's okay that I fucked 20,000 women.
You guys are beginning to disgust me.
Get off your islands. You turn your back on your own country.
The country that stripped me of my title, dude who stripped me of politics, and I'm supposed to love this country?
Keep in mind that we're public figures, and once you go public, you're fair game for every shill, comment, and reporter looking to make a quick buck at your expense.
Can't disagree with you there. I remember that one reporter. He built my whole entire career in hyping me. I know he was doing it because he didn't love me.
Maybe he did love you. Weren't you always telling people how pretty you were? Maybe he wanted to take you up on that.
All that stuff is part of my height.
Still, you're not a bad-looking guy.
I wish I could say the same about you. But if I did, I'd be lying. And I'm not a liar. It goes against my religion.
By that you mean Islam?
Whatever religion, what are we talking about?
The more you guys talk about religion, the more you're losing me.
So get lost. Who needs you? Go back to your golf course and go wrap a club around your head.
I take my religion seriously.
Okay, good for you. Who cares?
There's only one true God, and it's Allah. And Muhammad was his prophet.
That's good to hear now. Now, candid. Last thing I want to hear, oh my God, man, you guys are done with your religious stuff. That's good to hear. Now, candid. Last thing I want to hear is anyone preaching to me about a Jew, Christian, whatever. Don't want to hear it.
That's not the way it used to be. Blacks had a much more respectful attitude toward the church.
The church is important when things are going bad for blacks. Right now, I have no need for it.
Yeah, I don't mind the preacher preaching at us just as long as he keeps the sermon short. And there's nothing worse than a preacher going on and on about how much we need the Lord.
All sweet talk meant to keep blacks down.
I'm so grateful that I'm alive now and not, let's say, 75 years ago. Back then, forget it. I would have been a nobody. No way would they have let a black man on the golf course.
Did any black man ever try?
You know? I really don't know.
I mean, for all we know, that there might have been a black man with the golf clubs, just like Diver, who wanted and was begging for a chance to play, but never got the chance. That's sad.
I mean, the same can be said for any sport. I mean, if I had been alive after World War I, I seriously doubt that I would have been given a chance to play.
But who lost out the most? Us or the country?
Us. I mean, we were denied the opportunity.
But the country was denied the opportunity to see the best players in the world, which made the sports people were paying to watch just a shame.
So what about the country? I mean, we as black people, we were put down and kept down, period.
Until I came along.
Some savior. As soon as you changed your name, the country wanted to hang you.
But I stood fast in the day I'm considered a hero.
Maybe things aren't as bad for blacks as we think.
I wouldn't go that far, but things did improve, for us to make them fall.
Yeah, making them buck. And that's what it's all about. I once heard this pro wrestler say, you live by the buck and you die by the buck. To me, those were profound words. Profound words of wisdom.
It just shows that anyone can be a philosopher.
Hear that, Tiger? Inside of me is a philosopher.
Well, you know, I did go to college.
I did too. But but I'm sure it wasn't to study philosophy. I was there to make money for the university.
And for that, you were well rewarded.
Later, not while I was paying for the school.
They gave you a scholarship, right?
Right, but I was no scholar.
Yeah, for some reason, I cannot visualize you hitting books and writing German.
What are you saying? That my going to college was a fraud?
You said it.
I was asking a question.
Look, I attended a major university on a football scholarship. Right? I was there to play football, not learn nuclear physics. They had other programs.
That doesn't mean we don't have anything.
We did. Okay, the value of our bodies being a tool just to make money.
For some reason, that doesn't sound so good.
I think that what the bro's trying to say
I
is
don't need you to translate for me, okay? I'm talking plainly, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's your problem.
I thought going to college was supposed to improve my mind. I only heard that because I never went to school.
I didn't either.
I guess that's why me and you are the smartest ones here.
Hey, don't be such a wise guy. I went to college, and I even graduated. Without my football scholarship, I wouldn't have been able to ever make it out my neighborhood.
Maybe I should have gone to college.
On what? A boxing scholarship? Like, I've never heard of a university offering us boxing scholarship.
How come schools are willing to dish out money for football and basketball, but not for boxing? That's not fair.
Boxing has a negative image. Come on. Two people pounding on each other?
Oh, and 22 people pounding on each other is okay?
That's different, okay? It's a team sport and the goal is to score, not to destroy your opponent.
Then how come in every game someone has to be carried off the field?
It's a contact sport, okay? It's something is bound to happen.
Boxing is contact sports too. They're both contact sports.
Thank goodness I got into golf.
Did anyone ever tell you that you're nothing but a pansy? You sure you're not really white?
No, not one drop of white blood.
Blood is red.
It's an expression.
Yeah, here's another expression. Fuck you.
What brought that on?
Everything you say. In fact, your very presence here deeply annoys me. I wish you would leave.
Hold on there, bro. I need to cop that.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's here. You got black skin, but there's nothing about you that's black. All of us here come from the neighborhood, and you come from somewhere else.
I too am black. I'm as black as anyone here.
No, you're not. You're half Chinese.
You mean die?
What's the difference?
A lot.
Wait a minute. I met Chinese and Thais, and to me, they all look the same. So, what are you saying?
I already told Khalid that I'm half Thai, not half Chinese.
Stop your nitpicking. Thai, Chinese, who cares? You're half Asian, right? No wonder the bro lost his cool.
I didn't lose my cool.
You got hot under the collar.
Yeah, stop playing with me. I'm real, the dude here isn't. Well, why don't you just go back to playing with your white friends?
Like all your friends weren't white?
I know white people, but they're not my friends.
Okay. Did that include your wife?
You mean my late wife, and you keep her out of this. How I miss her. Maybe she was so sweet.
I think you better do a reality check in your memory.
You know, there's a lot of important stuff to talk about.
Like what?
Like our health. People take us for granted. Treat us like we're indestructible machines. And we're not. I'm in constant pain, and no one cares.
Yeah, sometimes I can barely walk. The pain got so bad, I had to quit football.
I used to believe that nothing could hurt me.
That's how you think when you're young.
It's how you gotta think to get going.
Yeah, but it's crazy. You know, we get hit and we get injured, and it's reported on the news, and all people care about is when is this guy going to return.
And also, if he's faking it, then he's accused of malingering or having a bad attitude or being selfish or not being a team player or being a head case.
You notice how many black men are accused of that garbage? That wasn't the case when I was playing.
Yo, in those days, the black athlete knew his place. If he acted out, especially in public, he was gone.
Yeah, I did some gripping when I was playing, but it was about wanting to play more.
Coach must have loved you.
I mean, we had a good relationship.
Yeah, while you were able to produce.
And that's the bottom line. Could we produce? That's all that we're interested in.
For which we were well paid.
Of course we were paid. But the money worth, was the money worth if it destroyed our health in the process?
What was the alternative? Not play? And not take the money? Go out in the real world and get a normal job? Would any of us been happy with that? I wouldn't have.
You know, it's amazing what money will get you to do.
But you were playing a sissy game.
That require walking several miles every day and playing under all kinds of weather conditions. Remember, golf is played outdoors, not in an arena.
I tried playing some golf, and I must admit it's a lot harder than it looks. It's especially hard on your knees and lower back.
That's why most golf players, sooner or later, ruin their knees and back and have to have surgery.
And still, that's not the same as taking a hit on the head or being tackled hard by a 250-pound guy charging at you helmet first.
What can I say? People pay huge amounts of money to watch me play. If you don't like it, so what?
Who do you think you are to be sounding so high and mighty? Your career went down like the sinking of the Titanic. You must have lost at least $1 billion worth of endorsements. At one point, you were being touted as the greatest golfer in the history of that so-called sport, but you blew it. You and your golf. You had it all, and now you have nothing.
I think you're being unduly harsh on the brother. Alright, he made some mistakes, but in this society, if you're black, the mistakes are greatly magnified and the retribution much greater. In the society, much more critical and unforgiving.
What happened to me, gentlemen, had nothing to do with race or with golf.
I'm surprised at you. After all that happened to you, you still think race isn't a factor. You think your entire history of denying your essential blackness and your decision to earn a living in what was and still is a white dominant sport was merely just coincidental? Do you not understand that your preoccupation with white women and hobnobbing with white people and your phony smile and your pretentious ability is nothing but a pathetic masquerade?
With golf being a part of that phoniness?
You shouldn't knock out someone who makes a living. Besides, you've had your own identity issues too.
First, look, I'm not knocking how he makes a living. Then again, I wouldn't knock how a whore makes a living either.
You'd be a fool to do that. Besides, the comment was uncalled.
But can I speak my mind? Isn't that what we're here doing?
Of course. Well, let's not start demeaning each other.
Nobody's demeaning anybody. And as for the so-called identity issues, look, I never sought to hide who I am. I've always been true to myself, and I never tried to come off like I was white.
Meanwhile, he married a white woman, just like I did, and lived in a mansion in a fancy neighborhood, made movies, and was laughing all the way to the bank. You were no different than me.
Enough of this foolish bickering. You both made lots of money, and both ran with white people. So what? You're still black. That is something you can never deny. That we could never deny, no matter how much we may try. So, what's the problem?
No problem. Like, I just don't like how someone is trying to compare golf to football, where people sustain real and serious physical damage. And don't forget that being exposed to danger is something that is uniquely part of the black experience in this country. Historically, blacks have worked the most dangerous jobs and have done the hardest physical labor, and as a result, have shorter lifespans.
That could also be due to lifestyle choices.
Here we go again. Blacks being their own worst enemies.
I didn't say that.
You did say that. In so many words. Because what I did for a living, my needs are shot. I have arthritis. I'm on pain meds. But that doesn't make me my own worst enemy.
And that goes for all of us. Except for maybe Will, being an actor and all.
I got my own mental issues too.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Sometimes acting can be rough.
I've been in a couple of movies. Nothing to it. You forget your lines, they use cue cards.
I remember in one scene I was in a fight with another actor. He was playing a burglar who had broken into my home.
Of course, the thief is black.
Actually, he wasn't.
Then they were being politically correct. Or maybe you're not remembering it right. And maybe you were playing the burglar.
Not like it. I was the star of the show. Anyway, in the fight scene, I took a bad fall.
Why no stunt double?
I don't know. Probably wanted to save money.
That figures. If it were white, if you were white, then they would have used a stunt double.
That's hard to say.
You just said it.
I heard it. Maybe being black has its challenges, but it was being black that helped you beat that double murder.
Oh,
Like I said before, I didn't murder anybody.
But you were really upset that she was seeing another
I
man.
didn't I didn't like you. But that doesn't mean that I would kill her.
I don't know what I would have done if I saw my wife or even my ex-wife screwing around with another man. I might freak out too.
I never freaked out.
But Didn't you stalk her?
No.
You mean peeping through the windows, watching your wife
You mean my ex-wife?
with another man? Did it make your blood boil?
How would you feel if you saw me with your wife?
I'm not married.
Okay, well then your girlfriend.
If I'm done with her, then good. She's yours.
Do you hear yourself? You're talking about women like they're objects to be used and then discarded.
Aren't they?
Are you playing with me?
No, man. I'm not playing with you.
Women are human beings, just like men.
We know they're human, but do they think we're human? Women are taught to hate men, especially black women. That's why we gravitate to the white ladies. They're more appreciative of us.
Oh, my wife was white.
And so was mine.
My wife was black. We've been married for decades.
Why you was trying to dope up and molest every white woman on the planet? What does that say about your so-called successful marriage?
I never called it successful. It was wrong.
Well, that it lasted that long is tribute to something.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Don't bet you, bro.
Ever since my son was murdered, I contemplated committing suicide.
I heard about that. I was shocked. I was also sad, you know.
Violence. We live in such a violent society.
We're part of it. The mercenary.
Now all of us have known violence. And look at what happened to my wife.
And that lady who I raped, she was a victim too. It just took me a while to admit that I was the perpetrator.
So, black men are the problem.
I never assaulted anybody, but I was mugged once.
Who would be crazy enough to mug a big guy like you?
When a little guy is holding a gun to your head, he suddenly becomes very big. You got to remember that we're all targets.
Was the guy black?
Yeah, he was.
Damn, black on black crime. I mean, we're our own worst enemies.
I hate that term black on black crime. Crime is crime, period.